Hi, welcome back. Today I'm very excited to talk to you about a tower defense game that hit my table recently, and the name of the game is Fate Defenders of Grimheim. This is a game produced and published from Fricks Games. Fricks Games, obviously, you know the company. It's a publisher who brought us Terraforming Mars and numerous other games, but they are most known for Terraforming Mars. This game has nothing to do with Terraforming Mars. This is a tower defense game where players are assuming the lesser heroes that are left behind in a village to defend it while hoping that nothing bad goes wrong. And that's not the case because we're in Norse mythology and Loki has other plans and he's unleashing 3 different factions to destroy the village of Grimheim together with the Well of Freya because they're visiting somewhere else with the rest of the heroes to attend a wedding. So they left behind the lesser heroes, unexperienced heroes, which is us, and we're trying to defend in this tower defense the village from the monsters that they are jumping out of forests, jumping out of mountains and rushing towards the center of the table, the center of the board to destroy the buildings and win the game. So it's definitely it's one of the most typical tower defense games. You're trying to defend your village, Grimheim, but it has some very unique ideas. It has different aspects and different factions with different abilities. It has great gameplay, it scales really well, and I'm going to talk more about my personal opinion from the game because I played it a lot of times, both as a solo and as a multiplayer, and I really enjoyed all of the times, and I'm looking forward for more because now I have also the Master Box minis and the Legends minis, and I can replace the tokens with beautiful miniatures. I've done also separate unboxing videos for those, and you can check them out, but you are here to find out more about the game. In the following minutes, I'm going to explain in detail the rules of the game. I'm going to add timestamps in the description of the video so we can find more about how the game plays, or you can jump directly to a specific section of the rules that is of interest to you. The game has a lot of things to offer, but above all, it's a very simple in terms of rules game, with a lot of nice choices, with asymmetry, with great game flow, and with a ton of fun and replayability. That being said, let's dive into the explanation part of this video, which is in the middle. It's the most lengthy one, but I'm going to explain how the game plays and explain all the rules. And I'm going to come back at the end of this video, like I do always, with some more final impressions from the game, my personal opinion, and what I'm going to share with you what I really liked and what I enjoyed about the game and what I didn't like. So let's see how the game plays first of all. Let's see the game overview for Fate Defenders of Grimheim. In Fate, each player takes the role of an aspiring hero of Grimheim. Together, the heroes try to defend the town against increasing waves of monsters coming from all directions. Each time a monster enters Grimheim, a town piece is destroyed. All players lose if the town is completely destroyed, but they win if at least Freya's well remains when she returns at the end of the game. From thematic and story point of view, Freya, the goddess of fertility and beauty, has long kept a sacred well in the small village of Grimheim, the town where you grew up. You may have set the town's hall on fire once or twice in your teens, and now you're almost exiled after that incident. But for the moment, you are the heroes that still can grow and develop, but are left behind to guard the village where everyone is attending the ceremony. At Loki's command, all the monsters will try to rush into Grimheim and destroy, during Freya's absence, the village and its well, so it's only left to the heroes to try to protect it. So let's see the game overview and the components. First of all, you see in front of you a lot of different components. The game is really nice. I have to clarify that the miniatures are part of a separate monster box, and the same goes for the miniatures of the legends that you see here, like the big bosses, and the same goes for the 3 factions. So we have the Dead, we have the Fire Horde, and we have the Trollkin over there. These come with really nice tokens. I've placed one miniature next to each respective pile of tokens. So for example, For the Jotun, if you have the monster box, you'll have these really nice miniatures, and I've done a detailed unboxing of both the game and the monster box. But for the core game, if you only have this, you have these functional but really also nicely decorated tokens, which dictate which monster you're facing. Now, we have first of all a main board. The main board has different aspects. It has the edges of the area where the monsters pour in our valley. It has in the center Grimheim, which is this big area. It has the different town pieces, which are 10 town pieces. We have 9 houses and Frey as well to place in Grimheim. If they're all destroyed, you lose a game. The amount of pieces, which are like hit points for the village, that we place in the center, they are depending on the number of players, and we'll talk about that later. The next thing that we have are different boxes, like this one in front of you. The game comes with 2 boxes. Each box holds 2 heroes with a respective deck. So again, these are the miniatures that the miniatures of the town pieces and the miniatures of the heroes also come in the main box. So in each box you have spaces for the 2 heroes of the box, in this case Baldur and Embla, the respective deck, and they're all included in this nice slip box with the history background behind, and you can have them saved safely within the box itself. So they act as a tray but also as a storage solution. We also have 4 player boards, and let me show you how the player boards look like. I'm going to use one from the main box. These are thick cardboard. These are the same for all players playing the game. The game plays from 1 to 4 players and scales really nicely as well. So this is thick cardboard, and these are, we're going to explain the anatomy of the player boards later on, but you have 4 that tracks your actions and decks and a placeholder for your cards and discard. Then we have 20 attack dice. You'll see here that there are a lot of dice, and they're really nice. They're custom dice which have either miss or hit, and we'll explain this during combat, but you have 20 of those you use to resolve attacks and effects. We have 8 damage dice. These are supplementary. You can use them to track damage. There are very many dice. I really like them, very cute, to place them next to monsters to indicate that they have 4 damage, for example. But the main way to do that is to put, you can also put damage crystals next to them. Speaking of crystals, we have 150 crystals, 50 of each of the color. We have 50 green for mana, which are these. The balls come from another game. Okay, I'm using them as cups. We have 50 red, which are for damage, and we have 50 yellow, which are for gold and experience. Gold and experience is the same in this game, and they're all tracked here where you collect them, both to buy or spend to upgrade. We also have 12 player markers, 3 per player, to mark their action. So each player is going to take 2. 2 of them are going to place on these actions, so you're going to be indicating which action you're taking each round. You have 2 actions to take, and then resetting them from round to round. And also here you have the upgrade cost. It starts with 5. Once you've done your first upgrade, it will be 6, and so on. So each player has 3 of those markers. Next we have one runestone. It's this nice miniature which comes into the core game, and you'll use it to place it at the top of the respective track. Okay, if you're playing the short game, or here if you're playing the long game, depending on which version you want, to track the game turns. It moves down, and you need to manage to defend the village until all the way to the bottom. Otherwise, if you have no pieces left, you lose a game. We also have one monster die. This is a separate custom chunky big die that it's used to increase difficulty and making monsters less predictable. Really nice variant as well, but not recommended for your first game. We have 54 monster cards, 36 yellow. These cards here, but they have spawning effects for the monsters. The yellow are, let's say, the less efficient but still deadly. And then you have in addition to that 18 red, which are more powerful, and they frequently come at the second portion of the track as spawning for monsters. We then have 142 monster tiles, so let's focus here. This is one of the three factions, the Fire Horde. So for the Fire Horde we have 10 Jotun, 15 elementals, and 20 sprites. Okay, and I've shown in different video how they compare to the respective miniatures if you get the monster box or if you got the Kickstarter version, but it's good that you can also buy it from the web store of the company separately if you missed the Kickstarter. And that's one of the factions, the three factions, the Fire Horde. We also have the Dead, which are white instead of red. The Dead also have different bases, so you see the triangular base for the Fire Horde, square base for Troll King, and pentagon shape for the Dead, which are white. The Dead are from the biggest miniature or tile, or more deadly. You have the Draugr, which is this one. Then the middle unit is the Skeleton, and for those again you have 15, and the most of it you have for the Imps, which is the smallest one over there. And last we have the Troll King. Troll King has again 3 different sizes of enemies, of monsters. You have the Troll, which is the biggest one over there. You have 10 of Trolls, 15 Brutes, and 20 Goblins on the top. Okay, there's a detailed unboxing video again, you can go and focus. And the last thing I want to mention is you see here the legends. The legends are tokens, so they are like big bosses that they come through, may come through the course of the game. Most probably they will come, either as a yellow deck or from the red deck. And if you have the Legends miniatures box, you can upgrade them to miniatures, which are really nice. And again, you can see them on the separate video. So there you have it. These are all the components of the game. Now, the game board. The game board shows a map with hexagonal areas. Each area has a terrain type, either plains, mountains, forest, or lake. Regardless of the terrain type, areas can also have roads, as you can see here, for example, and so on. Keep in mind that some locations contain several areas and have a red or yellow border. For example, here is yellow, the worm lair, or here highlands are red. Grimheim is a town in the center of the board. Unlike other locations, Grimheim is considered a single area. So all this area here, which is fully populated at the moment, is Grimheim, and it's considered a single area. All other areas are separate. So this is one, another one, but Grimheim is also considered as one. Now let's focus on the different plains. You can have plains with different decorations. So for example, this green area here is a plain. The same goes for this one, but the same goes for this barren plain here. Okay, so these are all plains. Plain, okay? Plain. You can also, there are no special rules about plains. So moving forward to the mountains. Mountains have mountains depicted on them. So this is a mountains hex. The same goes for this one, or that one, or this one, okay? Or that one. Mountains are hexes where only monsters may move into them. Okay, so no heroes can move into mountains. We have forests. Forests also depicted in different ways. So this is a forest. This is a forest. These 4 are forests. Okay. This is forest, and so on. So forests, when a character occupies a forest, it has cover, which we'll explain later, but that means if someone rolls this icon instead of this one, this is a hit. If he rolls the hit in the circle, if the character is in forest, then it's not hit. It has protection. We also have the lake. Lake, like this one here, those spaces, or this here. The lake is a location where no character may move into it. We have the roads. The roads start from the sides and go towards the center of the map, which is Grimheim. Roads only affect how monsters move, basically not speeding them up, but forcing them, once they step on a road, to follow the path of the road towards the village, the city center. They have no other function in game. There are also locations. All places with names are locations. Some locations are only one area and some contain several areas. Like this is a witch cabin, is a location. This whole area is called the Marsh of Sorrow. This is a robber camp. This is the temple ruins. Okay, this location here is the Nail Fair or Spring Mountain at the bottom, and so on. Okay, we have troll caves. Troll caves, which you can find here, consist of 3 mountain areas that may be occupied by heroes as well as monsters. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and they are around a yellow border here. And Nail Fair consists of 2 lake areas. They may be occupied by characters. These two, you can consider them as a pier or something. They can be occupied by characters. Now, let's focus on Grimheim a bit more. So, if you focus on Grimheim, here, this is considered to be one big area where any number of heroes may stand at the same time. Heroes inside Grimheim, like you see in front of you, are considered to be adjacent to each other, but not adjacent to surrounding areas. Heroes inside Grimheim cannot interact with characters or terrain outside it, or vice versa. That means, for example, this hero cannot interact with that hero because one is inside Grimheim and one is outside of Grimheim. Consider they have like kind of wall or low fence. When you move into Grimheim, your card movement always ends. You need another move action or effect to exit. When moving out of Grimheim, you may enter any area adjacent to it except the mountain, so you cannot enter in here. If a monster enters Grimheim, remove any 1 pieces, and monsters are considered all 3 sizes of a faction. For example, all of these, the troll, the brute, or even the goblin, they're all monsters. Okay? If a monster enters Grimheim, we remove 1 piece, so we lose 1 life point if you wish. Depending on the number of players, we'll have different amount. If a legend, legends are the minis, or the tokens. Those 6 tokens or minis, the legends, if a legend enters Grimheim, this is much worse. Instead, you remove 3 town pieces. If the last piece, Freya's Well, is removed, which is this one in the center, this is Freya's piece, then all players lose the game. There is a healing effect of Freya's Well. Using a mend action, we'll talk about using your actions later, lets you remove a total of 5 damage markers from both your hero and equipment cards instead of just healing 2 from your hero only when you do it outside of Grimheim. So it's more easy to heal when you're in Grimheim. And you can also heal cards. Now, let's talk about the time tracks. As you can see here, we have 2 time tracks. Along the edge of the board, there are 2 alternative time tracks. These keep track of which turn it is and when you add new monsters by reinforcement to the game board. The shorter time track, the one on the left, this one, is intended for a shorter game, obviously. This is 30 minutes per player with a slightly lower difficulty level, while the longer time track on the right, it's about 40 minutes per player and will take more skill to win. Each turn with crossed axes, like this one or that one, introduces reinforcements, new monsters, and spaces with skulls mean that all monsters will charge towards Grimheim. We move one further. We'll discuss this later. If Freya's Well remains after the last turn, you win. For monster supplies, all monster tiles that are not in use are stored in the respective supply spots on the game board, like you see, for example, here in front of you. You see, you have spots for the 3 types of monsters of the dead, and you place them there. The tiles, I mean, you will not fit all the miniatures there for sure, but you place them there. And also behind it, you see there is an explanation of the special ability of the faction. The same goes in this side, 3 spots, 1 from each side of monster, from the Fire Horde, but also an explanation of the special ability of the monsters of that type. So, this is everything you need to know about the board. Let's talk about card overview. Each hero deck is unique, but all of them contain exactly 40 cards. The one most important card in the deck of the 40 ones is the hero card. Hero card is double-sided. You have your starting side, and it says starting, and you have the upgraded version on the back. Okay, so it has a portrait of your hero. The back side shows the upgraded space. You need to upgrade your hero to flip it. The portrait of the hero, as you can see, this is Embla, the name of the hero here. Okay, you also can find the name on the different ability cards. Again, this showing Embla ability. Okay, you can also see on the hero card the attack strength, which means they roll that many dice when they attack. We'll explain that later. The health, if they take 9 damage, they die and they need to respawn. Here's an effect. For example, she has special ability of moving 4 instead of 3, which is very useful. Okay, and if you see from the upgraded side, it becomes better. So 10 instead of 9 health points and 5 attack instead of 3. Okay, here's a very nice and usually funny flair about the background of the hero. Here you see, for example, the ability card. The ability card has, if it is a starting one like this one, you start the game with those cards for Embla. This is a starting one, it says starting again here, like it says on the portrait, starting side, from this side, not the upgraded one. It has blue color, so it has the name of the hero, it has the name of the card. This is a riposte 1. It says riposte 1 because if you upgrade it, it becomes riposte 2, a more improved version of the ability card. It has the effect here, and some of these cards, not all of them, for example this one does not have it, but some of those cards have this mana generation, which means it generates mana each round, and they obviously use this mana that it's generated to perform the effects of the card. Okay, and they can also be upgraded by flipping them through the upgrade action. Next we have the equipment. This is our starting equipment. Equipment backside, on the back flip is like that. Okay, and you have a whole deck of additional equipment. They're like mini quests. For you to get them and win them through the course of the game, you need to fulfill the top description. Okay, and you can go through them easily because you can move the top card at the bottom at the end of each round. But in any case, you start with one equipment, which is your starting weapon. Miserable heirloom. Doesn't look like much, and it's not nearly as good as it looks. Okay, but it adds 1 attack, so you have 3 + 1, 4. This cannot be upgraded. Okay, but when you get a new, let's say, weapon, then you put it on top because you can only have 1 weapon, and then you have the improved version of the weapon or an improved version of the weapon. For the most part, these cards, equipment cards, are on top of your equipment deck on your player board. For you to win them, you need to fulfill the top, which is a quest. So in this case, you need to enter a forest and search for it. Very easy. You need to move on a forest space to win it. Okay. In other cases, you need to spend gold or be on a specific location, etc. This is the name of the equipment, the Raven's Claw. This is the effect that it has, the strength it adds, and sometimes you have durability, like in this case. For example, this is like an armor, and it can prevent 2 damage, and every time you use it, and you can only use 1 time per turn, each equipment card. That means that you would put 1 crystal here out of the 3. If it has 3, you need to heal the card before you use it again back in Grimheim. But each of those would prevent 2 damage, which is very useful. Okay. This does not replace your weapon, by the way. I just place it here. Your weapon is this one. If you have this one, you're just going to place it next, so you have a weapon and an armor. Okay? And you can have more. Right. So, the last card is the event card. Okay? Which is this one. All event cards have this back, and they are face down. It's the only deck which is face down, starts face down on your player board. You need to get as many of those as possible because they're like small boons which help you a lot. For example, this card here, once you play it, you discard it. It allows you to switch the otherwise useless results of rune symbols to hit symbols if you if you roll, it says if you roll at least 1, you add 3 damage to your total damage, which is very good. Okay, but this is single use, and then you put it on your discard pile next to your events. You can have a number of 4 of those. There are approximately 23 in total, depending on the hero. The backside shows the hero portrait. Whenever you're instructed to draw cards, you always draw from there. They are supposed to be on your hand, so this is a hand. You can have a hand of 4. Okay, the rest of the cards are placed in front of you. These are the only cards that you have as a hand. I'm just placing it now below and a bit offset to indicate that this is part of my hand. Game setup. First, you place the monster tiles on the respective supply spots on the board. On the top and there. Okay, you make piles of the respective enemies. These are the sprites. Okay, and you need to place them on the respective spot. You have 3 piles for each of the factions in the game, representing the different type of enemies from that faction. The next thing you do is you need to populate the Grimheim with town pieces. Now, if you're playing a single player game, a solo, and we have a separate video to show you how to a solo playthrough, you're going to use 4 pieces, including Freya's well. So Freya's well must be one of the 4 pieces. So 3 more buildings. It doesn't matter which one you choose, they're just hit points and they're visual for visual purpose there, but you need to have 1 for the well and 3 more for a total of 4 to make a solo game. For 2 players you need 6 pieces, for 3 players you need 8 pieces, and for 4 players you need all 10 pieces. If the last piece, Freya's well, is removed, you lose the game. Third step is you place 3 damage markers here on the troll caves. These are the damage markers. You place them here on the troll caves. It has 3 dots to indicate that, red dots. That means a hero, when they are there, may remove them to remove 3 damage from his or her cards if they have taken damage. Now I don't have any cards in front of them that they can take damage. Next, we place 3 mana markers on the specified area in Nailfair. A hero may add them to their cards. If you go there, okay, Nailfair is there, you can pick them up and put them on your cards that use mana to do things. And the third spot for setup is the Worm Lair. You place 3 crystals of gold there. A hero may gain them and place them on their respective area. You start the game with 2. This is the area where you store gold / experience, which is the same, and use them later on. Next thing that you do is you choose a time track, short or long. You place a rune stone on the first spot of that track. If Freya's well still stands after the last turn, you win the game. So here, if I'm playing a short game, or here, as I've shown you before, if I'm playing the long game. So let's pretend that we're playing a short game here. The next thing we do is we shuffle the yellow and red monster cards. Okay, so the yellow cards, let me show you. These are the monsters of the yellow reinforcements, and these are the red ones. Okay, so you take each deck, you shuffle it, and you place it nearby. So you have 2 decks. You're going to use it depending on where the marker stands for reinforcements. If it's a yellow, you use a yellow one. If it is a red one, you use a red one. Okay, you place them nearby. We'll see how reinforcements work later. So the last thing you need to do is you need to do the player setup. For the player setup over here, you place 1 marker on the green start of the upgrade cost. So here, so indicating, pointing to the right, that means your next cost is 5 for an upgrade, and then you move there. Next is going to be 6. Once you're on the 10, that means every single one is going to be 10 moving forward. Okay. Then you take 2 more pieces, red markers, you place them there. These are your available actions. You're going to indicate which actions you are taking by putting them on the respective spot. You cannot take the same time, 2 times the same action through this process in the course of the game. That's why you move physically markers to indicate that. They need to be 2 different actions each turn. Then you shuffle the 5 remaining ability cards. These are these cards here. Okay. Remember, you start with 1 starting ability. You shuffle them, you create a face-up pile showing the level 1, not the level 2, and you place them on the ability spot on your player board. These are powerful effects you can acquire by gaining experience and upgrading your hero. Only the top card should be visible at any given time here. Then you shuffle all the remaining equipment cards. Remember, you start with your starting equipment, which is your starting weapon. The rest are going to be shuffled. Okay, and then create again a face-up pile, put it on the equipment spot here. The top card is your ongoing quest. If you complete the quest, you get equipment. Only the top card should be visible again here at any given time. Then we take and we shuffle all event cards, create a face-down deck, we place it on the event deck, We want these cards, are really nice. This is a discard spot for your event cards. And the last thing that we do, I forgot to mention, we place our hero card from level 1, we place our starting weapon here, we place our starting ability, okay? And this is how we start the game. Starting ability and starting weapon, and from the level 1 of our hero. Then we take and we add 2 gold to your player board and 1 mana to your mana generating card, which is your starting ability. You skip this step for a more challenging game, and that means that you're ready to begin. Keep in mind that you also draw 1 card from your event deck. You draw 1 card and you take it into your hand, so you start your hand with 1 card, event card, 2 gold and 1 mana, and if you skip all those you have a more challenging game to begin with. Turn overview. The players agree on who will be the starting player, and if they cannot agree, guess what? The one who can drink the most mead without falling over the starting player. If you decide to do this by contest, don't continue to play until all players wake up again. That's really funny. The player order will not change during the course of the game, and not on each player's turn, a player may perform 2 actions by moving his or her action markers from the empty spaces to the available action spaces and performing the indicated action covered by the marker. The player may not move both actions to the same space, so this is not allowed. Okay, so you have to pick up different actions to do, 2 different actions to do each time. So let's go through the different options that we have. Okay, so first of all, you see move 3. So by selecting this as an action, your hero can move 3. So I'm going to take and blab it off to put it here, to put it here so it's more visible. Okay, so your hero may move up to 3 areas on the board. Each area may only be occupied by 1 character at a time, either a hero or monster. You cannot move through occupied areas, not even your own player's areas. Heroes cannot move into mountain areas. So if I want to move, I can move with 1, 2, 3. Keep in mind that my special ability is that I can move 4 and I can move 1 extra. Okay, but just because it's this character, all other characters would move 3. Doesn't matter if you move on a road or another location, still you move according to what you're allowed to do, which for most heroes is 3, with the exception of Embla. Keep in mind also that you are not allowed to move onto mountains, so I cannot come here. This is not allowed, this is a mountain area. Okay, so keep that in mind according to the terrain types. Another action you can do is you can attack. You can spend your action to attack. You sum up all the attack strength you have from your card, in this case 3, and your weapons, another ability, equipment, so in this case it's 3 plus 1, and you're going to roll that number of dice in trying to get hits. Okay? We'll explain, well, that's a poor roll. We'll explain how battle happens, whether our monsters are attacking or heroes are attacking later on, but this is the basic way of attacking. Okay. Also keep in mind that if you want to attack an enemy, if you are a melee character, if you're not ranged, you need to be adjacent to the enemy monster to attack it. Okay. Only ranged heroes can attack further away according to their weapon abilities. The rest of the character or the heroes can only attack from next to the target hex, as indicated here. Another action you can do is you can prepare, and it has the back of a color of one of the cards of the heroes, in this case Bjorn. So it's the same for all heroes. If you use the prepare, simply you just draw 1 card from your event deck and take it into your hand. You may never have more than 4 cards in your hand, but you may discard cards without effects at any time to make room for new cards. Okay, and you should be having as many cards as possible, not to the limit of 4, and playing them as soon as frequently as possible, because they're all good cards in that deck and they all help you out. Okay. One of the 2 options you can do is focus, and it has a green. Focus takes simply 1 mana crystal and adds it to one of your abilities or equipment that uses mana. In this case, it would be adding it here. Okay, very simple like that. Mend another action. It says -2 red. That means if your hero has taken damage, and you can take the mend action to remove 2 damage from your hero. Okay, and you place damage, obviously, as you've seen, on your portrait. If you're in Grimheim spot in the center, in the village, damage may also be removed from equipment cards, like this one, for example. This one can take damage on it to prevent damage altogether, okay, up to the limit that it has there. So, and in addition to that, you may remove a total of 5 instead of 2 red crystals. So, outside of Grimheim, you can only heal yourself by removing 2 by taking the mend action. If you take the mend action in Grimheim, you remove 5, and you can also remove damage both from your hero and from your equipment cards. Last action is the practice and has a gold. Very, very simple. Add 1 experience to your player board, and you want this because you will be upgrading a lot. If a card lets you perform a specific action, it's an additional action. Perform that action without moving any action marker. This is the only way to perform the same action more than once on the same turn from a card. On top of that, we have the free actions. The free actions are the following. First, use equipment. Your equipment cards, as you can see, this is an equipment, and this is an equipment. So let's say I have those equipment cards. Your equipment cards may only be used once per turn, except cards that prevent damage. They may be used once each time you receive damage. Some equipment requires you to place damage markers on it to perform the effect. For example, place a red to draw an event card. Such equipment has durability value, a red icon on the bottom. That means how many damage markers it can hold. If it already has its maximum, it cannot be used again until damage has been removed by taking the mend action, typically most of the times in Grimheim. So, except from the ones preventing damage, all the rest can be used once per once per turn. Okay, good. So the next is use an ability. So this is an ability. In this case, I remove 2 mana if I have at least 2 to prevent 2 damage from an adjacent monster and then deal 2 damage back to it. Very useful. I used it a lot last time. But keep in mind that you can only use it once. Your ability cards may only be used once per turn, except the ones that prevent damage again, and many abilities require you to spend 1 or more mana, as you've seen, to perform their effects. That mana must be taken from the same card, and you may not pay the mana from other cards, so you need to have them on the card that you're using them from. Play an event. So you have events in your hand for 4. You play a card for an event and perform its effect, then place it on your discard pile here. Keep in mind that you may not play event cards while performing an action, such as in the middle of your movement. However, if the card says this attack action, you may play it after a dice roll of an attack action to alter the results. You may not play cards outside of your turn unless the card specifically tells you to do so or prevent damage. Okay? And you can do this as much as you want. Share gold. You may give or receive 1 gold from any adjacent hero. The transfer will be smoother if both heroes agree. And free actions never count as attack actions, even if they roll attack dice or deal damage. So these are the free actions, and you can have them on top of your main actions during your hero turn. Now, end of turn. When the player has performed 2 actions and any free actions he or she wishes to perform, the end of turn starts. You do the following in order. Okay? You first reset the action markers to their empty spots. That means these will go here. You upgrade your hero if you have enough money and you wish to upgrade them. To do so, you'll follow the upgrade step we'll explain later. You add mana to the mana generating cards. Every card that you have which is mana generating, you will take from the supply 1 crystal on top of it. Even if it has more, it will accumulate more. This card only add mana to themselves. The 4th step is you draw 1 card from the event deck to your hand, as we've seen before, with a limit of 4. If you have already 4, you need to discard before you draw. Okay, you cannot draw otherwise. And the 5th step is you may put the top equipment card on the bottom of the equipment pile, or the top ability card on the bottom of the ability pile, meaning, for example, I don't like any of those, and what I need to do is I need to move them a bit further down. So I select one of the two, other ability or equipment, and I reveal the next one and place the top one at the bottom of the pile, and then I have more options moving forward. And I can do this once. Now let's switch focus to quests and equipment. There's only one way to get new equipment, and it's by completing quests. This is equipment deck, and the quests are on the top of the equipment card. Each player has an equipment pile, which is the second pile, here on their player board, where the top card shows the current equipment that you can obtain by completing the quest written at the top of the card, in this banner. In this case, you can pay 4 gold to have the equipment made, and then get an armored with it, for this custom armor. So, keep in mind that for clarity the quest requirements are underlined. Pay 4 gold. This is underlined. While the rest of the text is for flavor. If you complete the quest, immediately move the equipment card from the top of the pile, from here, to the other active cards you have on the playing area, on the board, on the table, next to your player board actually, on your table, in front of you. Now it is active to use it. Since the equipment pile is face up, once you do that, a new equipment will be available for you to pursue via the quest, which is described again at the top of the card. When a quest tells you to spend an action, like in this case, spend a practice action in a forest to get your aim right, that means that you have to actually move an action marker to that action space without gaining its normal effect. You will be completing the quest instead of the normal effect of the action. You do not have to complete the quest in one go. Some quests may even require several turns to complete them. Track any progress with crystals or damage dice on your equipment card. You may have any number of equipment cards in play. The only restriction is that you may only have one main weapon. If you get a new main weapon, you need to place it on top of the other one for the rest of the game. Okay, so that's it. Now, experience, gold and upgrades. Here is where we track the amount of experience / gold we have. Through the game you will collect gold and experience, which are treated as the same resource in the game. Gold may be spent as experience and vice versa. Whenever you kill a monster, directly or indirectly through attacks or other effects, you gain experience. You gain 1 experience for rank 1 monsters, sprites, goblins and imps. You gain 2 experience for rank 2 monsters, elemental, brutes and skeletons, and you gain 3 experience for rank 3 monsters, jotun, trolls and draugr. You gain even more experience for killing legends. Okay, and you'll need to see the individual legend card to indicate how many experience you gain. There is a reference on the game board, and it shows how many experience you gain by slaughtering each respective monster. Experience and gold markers are all stored on your player board on the top left side of your player board. At the end of each turn, a hero may be upgraded if he or she has enough experience to take the next step on the upgrade cost track. And for example, you need to remove 5 experience from here and slide this here to take 1 upgrade. Speaking of upgrade, so let's say we already had 5 experience and we're eligible to upgrade. You pay the experience printed on the next step of your upgrade cost, and then you move the upgrade cost marker there. So I go there, I pay 5, remove them, put them back in the supply, and then I choose to upgrade either A, to gain a new ability. You move the top ability from the ability pile to your active cards outside of the player board, and now you can use them. You can either improve a card, flip a card, the ones you have in front of you, to the opposite side, level 2, to the upgraded side. This could be either your main character, you flip it and you have better stats, or it could be an ability, like for example the one we just acquired, it's Reaper Swing 1, we can flip it for an upgrade and then it becomes Reaper Swing 2. Okay, which is more powerful, and so on. You make a note that a player cannot upgrade more than once per turn, even if you have more gold experience for additional upgrades. If you choose an ability that generates mana, mana is added after upgrading. The new ability generates mana the same turn, and when you reach the red square on the upgrade track, meaning you reached here, tuck, 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 that means that from now on all upgrades cost 10 for you. Okay, so there you have it. This is how it goes. Very simple upgrading, but very vital, because it gives you better cards, better version of cards, more abilities, and also improves your character. The monster turn. As captured on the bottom right side of the player board, the monster turn has the following steps. 1. Move time marker. 2. Roll monster dice for the variant if you're using it. 3. Monsters move. 4. Monsters attack. 5. Reinforcements. So, let's see them one by one. After all heroes have performed their turns, the monsters have a turn of their own, following these steps. First, move the time marker 1 step. So, you move from this respective track 1 step down. If the marker ends on a reinforcement spot, for example, if it was here and we were moving it on the crossed axis here, this is a reinforcement step. That means that there will be reinforcements later on at the end of the monster turn. So keep that in mind in terms of strategy. If it enters a skull spot, like later on you have skull spots like this one, maybe just to move a bit here so you can see, this is from moving from here to here, you enter a skull spot on this place here. That means if it does so, all monsters will charge during the monster move step, and we'll see how this is done before later on. If it enters the last spot, the players win if Frey as well remains at the end of the monster's turn. So if it goes all the way at the bottom and at the last spot, that means we win. Now, that's the first step. Very simple. It just indicates the status of the time marker. Second step, we roll the monster die. This is only for using the variant. Okay, so you roll the monster die and perform its effects. So keep that as an optional variant to increase the difficulty and make monsters less predictable. If this is your first time playing the game, it's recommended that you skip this step and don't use the monster die. So let's see the results. You can either have this result, which is maneuver. In player order, all monsters adjacent to the hero simultaneously rotate clockwise around the hero, if possible. This may mean that monsters move into Grimheim or destroy town pieces. If this is a maneuver, if this is the maneuver, this is counterclockwise. If this is a maneuver, this is in clockwise direction. Okay? Actually, it's this like that, or this like that, the symbol. Right. Another one is the attack, which has the swords crossing. All monsters have attack strength +1 this turn. Ouch. Then there is the hand. This means that push. Each hero adjacent to a monster is pushed one area towards Grimheim, if possible, and you follow a monster path. Then you have this arrow here. This means charge. All rank 1 monsters charge this turn, according to the charge rules. And then you have this, which is an ambush. All heroes must place 1 new goblin adjacent to them. If a player stands in Grimheim, this effect is ignored for that player. So goblins ambush with this result. Again, keep in mind that you will use this step, the second step, the monster die, only if you're using the variant. If not, you just ignore it and you move to the third step. The third step is the monster's move. There are 2 golden rules for the movement phase. First, monsters adjacent to heroes never move during this phase. So if a hero is like that, with 1, 2, whatever, monsters next to it, I mean, this is very rare, but anyway, let's put, you cannot have, most probably, on this spot, elementals, but let's say you have a goblin, and let's say you have an imp, okay, here. So both this and that will not be able to move because they are next to a hero. Okay, so all monsters which are next to a hero, they are not moving. And the second golden rule is that monsters always follow their path towards Grimheim. The arrows at the edge of the game board shows which direction all monsters from that side of the board will move. They move in this direction until they enter either Grimheim or a road. Once on a road, the monster will follow the road the rest of the way to Grimheim, and they will continue moving only on the road. towards Grimheim. Monsters will never deviate from this path during this movement phase, but may be moved from other effects into new paths towards Grimheim. Starting with the monsters closest to Grimheim and ending with the monsters further away, each monster moves one area forward if possible, and monsters cannot move if they are adjacent to a hero. This is a golden rule one that we mentioned before. And they cannot move in the area in front of them if it's already occupied. Meaning, if so you have to first of all focus on the directions. You see, from here it's more clear. So these monsters here, let's say we had monsters here and here, okay, so they would move. How they would move? One space towards which direction? This has an arrow pointing this way, so they will move in this direction. This is going to move in that direction, following the direction of the arrow, until they move on a spot, meaning if this is here, they will move here, next time here, they can go onto mountains, only monsters, then this here, next time they're going to move on a road, okay, from now on they will not move in the direction of the arrow, they will follow the road in the subsequent move turns towards Grimheim, right? So keep that in mind. They cannot move if the area in front of them is already occupied. For example, if it's somehow like that and like that, okay, and let's say this monster moved for some reason, came here from an effect, this monster cannot move further because its direction is blocked by the monster in front of it, okay? If two monsters would enter the same road area, the monster already on the road moves first. Now the charge. A monster can charge, essentially moves one additional area on its path towards Grimheim. Monsters charge for a few different reasons, but will never take more than one additional step. The monster dice may cause rank 1 monsters to charge, okay, if it's again used as a variant, and if you roll this, then rank 1 monsters will move one additional, okay, by charging. Another option is on skull turns. Remember, here there are some skull turns. If the time marker is on a skull turn, that means they will charge. And the C option is if a monster cannot attack after its normal movement, but can do so by charging, it charges. That means, let's say these monsters move and the hero is here, okay, here. So this monster will move one, this monster will move one. This monster cannot attack, but if it would move one more by charging, they would be able to attack the hero, and then in this case they would charge. That's the third, the C option. If a monster is not adjacent to a hero, it will move as normal, even if that means moves out of attack range. Legends, and again these are the legends, they don't like to stand in line behind other monsters. If other monsters stand in their way, they simply switch places with them in order to move, including any additional charge step. If a monster moves in Grimheim, remove it from the game along with 1 town pieces. If a legend moves into Grimheim, you remove 3 town pieces instead. So let's say that this legend here, this legend was going to march, and this monster in front of it is blocking it. So it will switch places with it, okay, and continue moving, because they don't like to stand in line. They are like the big monsters. And there you have it. This is everything you need to know about moving. That's the third step. Then the last step is the attack. So let's say that we ended up somehow like that, okay? In whichever order the player decides, all monsters who can attack do so. If a monster can attack, you move that one hero, and more than one hero. The players will decide which hero they will attack. For example, if we're somehow like that, and this monster can attack both of the heroes, will decide if it's going to attack this one or that one. We'll see how attack happens in a sec. Let's see the fifth and last step, which is reinforcement. If a time marker is on a reinforcement spot with the axis crossed on the track, that means that we're going to draw a card from the respective deck, if it's yellow from the yellow deck, if it's red from the red deck, and follow the instructions for placement of new monsters. Okay. A moment now to see how attacks work. In this case, there is only one monster, so we decide between them two. Let's say it's attack. This sprite attacks our hero here, which is Bjorn. They would roll how many? 1, because they have one one axe here, means that many dice they roll. If this was a goblin, they would also roll one. But if this was an imp, they would roll two, based on the stats of the token or on the side of the board, which are described here, as you can see. Now, they're going to roll dice. The amount of dice they're going to roll. So this guy, they're going to attack and they're going to roll this. So if they roll this, this is a miss. If they roll this, this is a hit. Except this is a normal hit and you cannot stop it unless you can have prevent damage abilities. If this is rolled, this is a hit in a circle, it's a hit except if the defender has cover by standing in a forest. So in this case, first of all, this is wrong because we cannot have anyone sitting on the mountain, but let's say it was like that. He was attacking Bjorn, okay? But let's say our hero was here, the other hero, and this goblin was here. That means that they would attack Embla, okay? If they roll this one, so if Embla is sitting, as I said, on a forest, and this goblin would attack it, if they roll this result, which is essentially a miss because she is in a forest and she has cover, only this would inflict damage to her. And then we have a last token, which is this one, which is the rune. This is a miss, but some effects may apply when rolling this side, whether it's monsters attacking or we are attacking. For example, the special ability of the dead, all of the dead, whether it's a skeleton, an imp, or a dragger, no matter which miniature, as long as they belong to the dead faction, for them the rune symbol counts as a hit. Ouch. Okay. Speaking of abilities, let's see the rest of the abilities for the remaining of the factions. For the Fire Horde, the special abilities, all Fire Horde monsters have an attack range of 2. That means this guy can attack from here and this guy can attack from here. Okay? 2 further away. 2 range. In addition, the Trollkin, they have the special ability that they add +1 attack for any Trollkin of their kin, any green monster next to them. So this is going to attack this one, normally by 1 die, because they roll 1 attack, but they have 1 more next to them, so they will roll 2, because they have 1 more next to them. Okay, and if they were like that, they had 2 units next to them, doesn't matter if it's goblin or other units, they would roll 1 for themselves and 1 for anyone adjacent, so that makes them more difficult. Okay, and when they are moving close together. So keep in mind that cards that refer to this action, this attack action, may be played after the dice are rolled to alter the outcome. If the hero is the defender, the player may use event abilities and equipment to prevent damage. For example, with this card, I can spend 2 mana from this card, to prevent 2 damage and inflict it to the monster who dealt it to me instead. If the defender is a monster, you place a damage die on the monster tile or damage as its health, or the legend card. So you would most probably use these dice to indicate that it has 3 damage. So let's say I inflicted 3 damage to this troll, I will add this marker there, or I can add next to them markers for damage if it's more convenient, but it's more easy to add the small dice, which are really practical and useful for that matter. And the same would happen if you have a legend. Okay, you would use this die to measure the damage inflicted. If the defender is a hero, you would definitely only use then, in this case, damage tokens, which you would place directly on your portrait to indicate that you have 3 out of the, let's say, 9 that in this case Embla can take before she falls. Talking about falling, knocked out heroes. If heroes are knocked out, they are immediately carried back to Grimheim by their mother. She is not happy. You remove damage markers from the hero until they have exactly 5 damage on them. So in this case, from 9, if they had 9 damage and they fell, you will remove 4 and Embla will have 5 on here. You remove 2 town pieces from there. Okay, so this really hurts. Some villages panic and flee, leaving their houses undefended, and there is no other penalty for being knocked out. You continue playing as normal. You don't lose any cards or you don't have any other consequences. The monsters. Now let's focus on the monsters. We said already the special abilities of the monsters. Trollkin, from the small folk known as goblins to the brutes of the forest and the full-sized trolls. These creatures live mainly in the woods. They are known for coming in groups and tribes, and their strength lies in their numbers. Their Trollkin effect is that all Trollkin gets +1 attack strength for each other Trollkin adjacent to them. Goblin additional effect. Goblin moves 2 areas instead of 1. They will take a 3-step if they charge. Okay, that's really tough. Then we have the Fire Horde. The Fire Horde are these guys here. These fiery beings are spawns of Jotunheim. The sprites are small and mischievous, leaving fireballs. With enough magma nutrition, they grow up to be fire elementals, hovering over their own fiery swirl, ejecting burning rocks, caught you up in the ground, and that's it for you. The largest fire horde creatures are the Jotun, themselves the ancient fire giants, mostly made of large boulders with magma holding them together. The Jotun are known for their great strength. Okay, this is a Jotun. Very strong. Okay, and not as strong as the Dragur though, who are raised half giants and are armored. The horde effect is that all fire horde monsters have an attack range of 2. Now, the last is the dead. On the top right, from the dead plains and the harsh sorrow, you see the dead rising. Dead might not be as final as some believe. These dead creatures spring back to life, albeit without any of their former mental capacities. They are reckless and brutal, and their only goal is spreading death. The imps are nasty spawns of hell with their wing claws full of toxins, skeletons and raised vikings, warriors of old. It is said that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but you'll find that what does kill you might also make you stronger in this case, and not as strong as the Drogon though, who are raised half giants as I said before, and they're tough and armored. The dead effects is that runes count as hits when dead attack, and the Dragur have additional effects. They have armor, they prevent 1 damage each time it's dealt. Okay, so this is really tough to pull them down. So these are the monsters. The legends. You may also encounter some of the ancient horrors of Norse mythology referred to as legends, and they have special stats and some of them have extra effects. When legend enters Grimheim, it tears down 3 town pieces instead of 1. So don't let them in. Legends also switch places with monsters in front of them in their movement if it's blocked. Each legend comes in 2 levels, 1 yellow and 1 red from the respective deck. You choose the right side of the legend tile if you're playing with this one, or the flip side, which is usually stronger. Okay, so we have 6 of them. We have Grendel, Nighur, Sword, Queen of the Dead, Hornbald and Seer of Odin, and they're all pretty powerful, as you can see, no matter if it's the yellow or the red side. They don't have any additional special abilities, but I think what the havoc they wreak by pulling 3, destroying 3 buildings instead of 1 when they move in Grimheim, it's nasty enough. And they also have, as you can see, a lot, most of the times, of health. Now, monster cards. The monster cards are 2 decks. We have the red deck and the yellow deck. On reinforcement turns, marked with the 2 swords, as you can see here, if the marker is there, you're going to have reinforcements as the last step of the monster turn. On the 5th step, you get the reinforcements. So if the marker is here, that means you'll get reinforcements from the yellow deck. The monster cards are used to determine how to place these monsters. In player order, each player draws 1 corresponding monster card, yellow or red, depending on where the monster time marker is sitting on. There are 2 types of monster cards. Okay, so let's see them, no matter if it's red or yellow deck. You have the normal ones, which are like this, and they show where the standard monsters cards are placed. Okay, in this case, you show that you're going to place a Trollkin on the Ogre Valley, I'm going to specifically place one brute here, one troll here, one brute here, and 2 goblins there. And I can show you how this is done. Let me move the camera. I place them on the Ogre Valley according to the card, like that. Okay, exactly placed there. Another type of card that can be seen is a legend card, which is something like that. The legend cards have an image showing the legendary enemy, the special stats and the effects of the legend, and sometimes placements for standard monsters that come along with it. In this case there are none, but you can have additional monsters spawning in with the legend in some of the cases, as depicted on the card itself. In this case it shows that this is a Nidhugr, which is going to spawn on the Worm Lair, which is here. So it will spawn here, okay, and it will have as a reward 3 gold coins if you drop them, and here health is 13, and here attack is the same as the remaining health, meaning as long as she's fully healthy she's going to roll 13 dice when attacking. Ouch. So you place the legend card beside the game board to keep track of the strength, health, and different effect and reward, and when the legend is killed you place it at the bottom of the corresponding deck. In some situations, not all monsters can be placed in the indicated card. If so, you put the card at the bottom of the deck and draw a new one, and that can be placed. These are some examples where this can happen if you are not enough monster tiles available or miniatures in the supply, if you draw a legend card and the legend is already in play, or if one or more indicated areas are occupied. There are also a few ways of adjusting difficulty. If you have won Fate several times, and you can escalate the difficulty in a few ways. First, you can add the monster die to introduce less predictable monsters for the pattern for the monsters. The monster die is described in the rulebook, and I've shown you the abilities and the effects of the faces of the dice. The second option is to try the longer time track on the right. This is a longer track, which has more difficult. It's more difficult to win. Takes also a bit longer. The third is to skip step 13 in setup, starting with no gold mana or cards in hand. So from 0. The fourth option is to start, or in addition to the previous ones, is to start one step up on the upgrade cost track of your player board to increase the cost for all your future upgrades. So your first one will be worth, instead of 5, 6. And the fifth is, if you still persist in winning the game, contact Phrixelius' brother closest to your location to come and control your monsters personally, introducing arbitrary surprise rules during the game to make it more challenging. So for solo rules there is no difficulty. Playing Fate solo is just as playing with other player counts. Since each player draws one monster card at every monster reinforcement step, the difficulty adjusts automatically for the number of players. So there you have it. These are all the different rules of the game. There are a few clarifications that I'm not going to go through you, but you can find them at the end of the rulebook, which clarify some of the maybe most common questions. Okay, and there you have it. This is everything you need to know on Fate Defenders of Grimheim. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let's go back up. So there you have it. This is Fate Defenders of Grimheim. I have to tell you that I'm a sucker for tower defense games. I love them. I have a ton of them in my collection. I really enjoy them. It's very, very strange and bizarre, but most of the games that I have as a tower defense, even though they share the same genre, the same tower defense concept in mechanism, trying to defend something, most of them play differently. That doesn't mean that I enjoy something more or less, but I'm just saying that most of the tower defense games, at least I played, I think it's linked with the mechanics of the game most probably, and how it works, the mechanisms used in the game. They give a different feeling, and that's not different here. The difference here in this game is how easy it is to put it on the table, how easy it is to teach it, and how easy to get behind the game and start enjoying it. Not to mention how great and beautiful looking the game looks. So let's take it from the start. In terms of tower defense, is this a tower defense game? Yes, 100%, maybe 120%. It's a typical tower defense. It will not disappoint in what you're expecting. If you're buying it for a tower defense element, which it's why you're watching this video, I suppose, it's what you're going to get, and it delivers this tower defense feeling. Is it easy to teach? It's extremely easy to teach. Basically, half of the game is written on the table, on the board, on the main board itself. Heroes have different decks that customize them very differently and very unique, and I'm going to come back to this section a bit later. But for the most part, heroes have players play one after the other. Everybody has 2 actions. They can spend their actions. They cannot do the same action in their turn. They cannot attack and attack. They can attack and do something else. For example, they're trying to stop the monsters, so they're trying to fulfill quests, and they're trying to withstand the force of reckoning, the push of the monsters, their charging and their reinforcements and everything until the end of the track, and win the game without losing all the remaining, or the last I should say, building. In this case the last building that stands before we lose the game is free as well, and lose the game. So this game really delivers that, and there are a lot of other games that do that, but I think what is very unique here is how everything clicks together like glue in a very robust, easy flow, and giving a great gaming experience. Let me tell you what I mean. We have 3 factions, as you've seen in the video. We have the Trollkin, we have the Fire Horde, and we have the Dead. Each of those 3 factions has 3 different sizes. You know, the real big ones, the small ones, the medium ones, and the small ones. And they have different statistics. Fine, we've seen that in many other games. So why I'm pumped about this game? Because they have small differences that they are enough to make them very, very unique. So if they are Fire Horde attacking, they have 2 range instead of 1. It's a big thing. If they are the Dead attacking, for them the rune symbol is not a miss, it's a hit. It's a big thing. Also, the big guys, the Drog, they also have armor, so they need to hit them more. They stand more. The Trollkin, by the way, I love the name Trollkin. You know why. The Trollkin is a king that gets more power if they are more together. Power, strength by numbers. We've seen it before, but this is really, for each another Trollkin next to them, they get +1 attack. Means they roll 1 more dice. So, from differentiation, variety, and asymmetry of the factions, this is really nice. We've also seen that before, but let's move forward. What I really enjoyed about this game is how asymmetric the heroes feel. They are very, very unique. I mean, every hero has a deck of 40 cards, including their equipment, their abilities, their event cards, which are good things, by the way, and their main hero card, etc. And they have both different starting abilities, but also they are positioned a bit different on what they do. For example, one of the heroes can move 4 instead of 3. This is a huge thing, because you can only move once by action selection. If you want to move more, you need to play event cards, and there are not that many, or take advantage of abilities. Another hero has range 2, okay? So they don't attack just adjacent monsters, they attack 2 areas away, or even 3 if they upgrade their weapon. That's a Bjorn, by the way. So I'm not going to go into more detail, because I think this is part of the beauty of discovering the heroes and playing them, but every time I played a different hero, I was pumped about the new hero. And I think if you play it as a solo, this is a fantastic game as a solo, by the way. I have a separate solo playthrough you can watch. But if you're playing it as a multiplayer and cooperating with other players, you need to make a good use of the abilities, because you have more enemy spawning, because you spawn 1 card for each player participating in the game. That's how well the game scales. You need to really make the best of the abilities, so one will have better movement, one will have more range, one will be more stronger, and you need to try to play around your ability as much as possible, combined with the abilities of the other players to win, because otherwise it's a mess. You're not going to win. It's a tough game to win. Coming to that, I enjoyed the fact that there's so many difficult levels about the game. You can have a long game, a shorter game. You can have different levels of complexity. You can have added complexity. So the game, you can have the die, which is I didn't show it in the playthrough, but I played with the die. The die is really tough, because when you roll the die, the monsters may maneuver, they move around the heroes, they may charge more, they may ambush the heroes by goblins appearing out of nowhere and attacking. So makes the monsters even less predictable and add difficulty. So all these options add a lot of gameplay in my opinion, from adding the different elements, the variant, from the complexity levels, from different tracks. So this is nice. So there you have it. You have all the good perks of a tower defense. You have the asymmetry of the heroes, extremely asymmetric. Fantastic what they've done with the cards. By the way, the cards are really beautifully illustrated and they have a ton of humor. I never remember myself reading more the flavor text in any other game like in this one, because every second, at least every second card makes me laugh. Really, they're very humorous and they're not invented. They are thought around the character, and that really says something. Closing my parentheses. And the last thing that I really enjoy about the game is how nice it scales. I really enjoy the solo play, I really enjoy the multiplayer game. It's a blast. So there you have it. This is my opinion. I'm really pumped about the game. These are all the things that I like. Maybe the only thing I don't like, maybe I would have liked to see a bit more, is have a bit of added, I should say, I don't know, maybe events or things that happen from some kind of cards or a mechanism in the game that even ramp things up more. Not to necessarily have to use the dice variant to bring this less predictable pattern. Okay, I would have liked to see an event deck as an optional module, or maybe some narration. That would be great to add some narration, some paragraph reading in the game. I'm just thinking, this isn't not complaints. It's such a great game that if these options were also added, or can be added in the future from expansions, because this game really deserves expansions. They would make the game, I don't know, amazing. It's already a great game. I really love it, and I want to highlight that. Last thing I want to say is I really like the production of the game, the art, the game board art, the card. It's fantastic. It's handcrafted, the art, and the artists are amazing. The production quality is great. I like the little mini buildings. They look great. They are the focus of the center of the attention. But the hero minis are also nice, and the attack boxes they have, they're really nice. But I'm telling you, if you play the game with the minis box and the legends box, you don't. I didn't know that before I played it with them. You will never go back to the tokens. They are absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing miniatures. So there you have it. This is my unbiased opinion of the game. I really do enjoy it. If you like tower defense games, you should definitely check it out. This is a blast. For me, it's a game that is never going to leave my collection. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this video also, and many thanks for watching.